Hey, what's up, everybody? Pat here, great for recovering alcoholic and addict, just like every day. Guys, please don't forget to subscribe, leave the video a like, drop me a comment, and by all means, share it with anybody you think might get something out of it. Other than that, how we all doing today, guys? I'm taking it easy today. I talked about the job I did yesterday. I'm still shocked at how fast I was able to get it done, how well it went, and again, I did go hard at it. I woke up this morning and I either just strained my lower back or pulled a muscle in my back, or it's just really, really sore because I haven't dug a hole in a concrete floor in, a year plus. So I woke up and I was hurting. Not bad, nothing, nothing crazy. I'm just a little bit sore, and the beauty of that is, hey guys, because I'm living the life I am, and I happen to have a dentist appointment scheduled for this morning, so I hadn't scheduled any work for the morning. I did have a couple little jobs I had to go and do, but I stayed in bed. I had my therapist appointment, went to my doctor's appointment. I'm actually getting the implants put in for my bottom teeth, which I'm excited about. Other than the healing process, they're saying I can't wear my teeth for 3 weeks. I'm a little iffy on that, but you know what? It's a sacrifice of progress. But the beauty of it is, guys, because I was sore, I stopped and took care of a couple small things that I didn't have to strain myself. And other than that, I've just given myself the day off. I've been working super, super hard lately. It's been absolutely crazy. Today was a slower day. I took care of the stuff I needed to, and I'm giving myself time to rest. And that's the beauty. Like, I can't imagine any other time in my life where I could just, okay, yeah, I'm gonna let my body heal. I'm giving myself a day off. I don't have to go out and work every single day. I could be taking vacations and doing anything I want, but I'm building something here, so I do focus on it. But it's nice to have the options today. It's nice to have the sense of self-worth that I put my needs first. It's nice to have the confidence in knowing that it's not a big deal and it's the right thing to do. And that's all coming from letting go of my former life. And you know what? You know what came with that? A very glorious release of that former life. I'll tell you that right now. And that's we're gonna go with the daily reflection today. Again, I read both every day, and when I read this one, I really like this reading. So we're gonna do the daily reflection Alcoholics Anonymous reading today. A glorious release. The minute I stopped arguing, I could begin to see and feel. Right there, step two gently and very gradually began to infiltrate my life. Excuse me, guys. I can't say upon what occasion or upon what day I came to believe in a power greater than myself, but I certainly have that belief now. To acquire it, I had only to stop fighting and to practice the principles of my recovery program as enthusiastically as I could. And that's one of the parts that got me right there. I love that. After decades of indulging in self-will run riot, step two becomes for me a glorious release from being all alone. Nothing is so painful or insurmountable in my journey now. Somebody is always there to share life's burdens with me. Step two became a reinforcement with God, and I now realize that my insanity and my ego were curiously linked. To rid myself of the insanity, I must give up my ego too. Oh, I'm sorry. To rid myself of the insanity, I must give up my ego to one with far broader shoulders than my own. And as I do, I not only find clarity, but I also find purpose. Guys, when I read that, that one hit hard. I want to say, I've often said everything changed for me that night back in, I think it was October of 24 when I said a prayer earnestly and honestly, right? And I'm like, yeah, that was the changing point. Even though it still took months for me to get clean, and I had a lot of things to figure out. I was still deep in despair, but something sparked that night. But I can't say that's the day that I became to believe in a power greater than myself because I said the prayer in the first place. So I had that belief, and even then, it took. Like I said, it sparked something in that night. It felt good enough that I chose on my own to say a prayer the next night and to do so and to continue to do so. And although the drugs were a big one and they were the biggest thing, but I started making changes that very week. I stopped talking to somebody I knew was taking advantage of me. I started just feeling things, and it wasn't easy, guys. It was very uncomfortable. I literally thought I was losing my mind at one point because I'm getting all these I was getting conscious contact. I was getting returns on my questions, and I was being forced to focus on my life. So again, it was rock bottom creeping up, and it's a beautiful place to be, guys. Don't When you're in the thick of addiction, don't fear rock bottom as much as it can be tough because it means changes. It also is a place that you get to start building from. So long as you stop digging that hole, it stops getting deeper, and that's what happened for me. Now, it came with a very harsh reality because I had to face the realities of everything I was doing. I had to take action. I had to finally get myself. And again, I tried every softer way there was. I literally thought because I was praying and I was getting uh, downloads, I was getting instructions back, which was just common sense, but I didn't have any at that point. I honestly thought that because I had this inside track with God, I was going to lay down in bed for 3 days and He was going to make everything miraculously better. And that's the beauty of this program, guys, because now I see the insanity of that, first of all, but I also see why that wouldn't have worked, and I'm glad He didn't. Because had He done so, I would have picked back up and gone back to the same life I was living at that point, and that life wasn't working. The drugs were a symptom of my overall lifestyle at that point, and again I thought, oh, shed the drugs and everything's gonna be just beautiful, right? No, I went into rehab and slowly started to figure out that I had to let everything go, including my personality, my just everything, the traumas, my self will. I had to let go of my ego. I had to, in order to remove the insanity, the idiot driving the bus had to be put to rest, right? And that was very overwhelming. I didn't know what it was going to look like. It was very tough to deal with. It was tough to face. I'm not going to lie. It was brutal, but I was able to do it because I just turned it over to God and I just kept praying and I kept meditating, and all I was receiving. And it's funny, like I have not heard somebody say this since those days, but I heard it daily at that point. He will give you just the next step, because that's all I was capable of handling at that point, and that's literally all I would get, and that's all I would focus on. Because if I let it get into, well, what step do I take next, I start to get analysis paralysis, and I start to get overwhelmed. So I'm like, okay, got to get to rehab. Boom, get a bed in rehab. Got there, right? Didn't think about anything for 12 days because I was sick as a dog trying to get over it. They were going to take me to the hospital. I thought I had the flu on top of being detoxing. It was just detoxing really bad. As I started to get stability, I was sitting in a group in rehab, and I'm like, clearly I'm leaning into my faith on this, because it come to my attention that, if, at least for myself, I needed a spiritual cure. I think for all of us, but I'm going to speak for myself. As soon as I no sooner realized I needed a spiritual cure, or I needed a spiritual treatment, I'm like, well, I need to start learning more about my spirituality. And then literally one of the RAs in rehab comes walking by, and she got a stack of books. She's like, anybody want to read a book? And I'm like, yeah. Grab the top one off the top, and it's a book I've since bought myself a copy of, Power Through Constructive Thinking by Emmett Fox, and it was a book on breaking down prayer. It was a book on understanding prayers and understanding psalms and things of that nature in the Bible. And I had no idea that's what it was about. I didn't think that was the case at all, but I started reading a couple of pages and I was hooked. Boom, it's where actually most of what I say in my prayers twice a day is directly transcribed or made up by myself through lessons I learned in that book. Fantastic book. Changed my life. But again, like every time I would voice or come to the conclusion that I needed that next step, boom, it was dropped in my lap. And I'm like, wow, this is kind of starting to feel kind of miraculous. So I bought in. And again, the one thing I hadn't noticed was the very first download I got was if I put down the drugs, God would remove the negativity from my heart. Now, again, negativity is not a natural place for me, but I was living in it. I was just full of it at that point. And I didn't even see the change because I was so focused on just trying to feel better. As I started feeling better, I was just getting incredibly happy. Not joyous, but I was getting happy. The negativity was being removed from my heart. Somebody said it to me one day, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, man, I love hearing you speak in these groups. You're like the most positive person I've ever met. And I'm like, really? Like, wow, yeah. And you told me that's exactly what would happen, right? I'm like, these things are working, man. So I just kept diving deeper into it, right? Even though I had nothing, I didn't have the strength, I didn't have, any idea what was going to happen. I was starting to feel that glorious release of all the shit that was I was afraid of. So as these small answers started coming to me, I started just trusting and believing that there was a power greater than myself at work in my life, and that I could just be okay. But I also knew it was contingent upon me listening, participating, looking at my actions, looking at all the. At that point, I knew everything that came in front of me was a direct gift from God. So whatever topic came up in a group, whatever workshop I was asked to do, IOP or even just the groups in rehab, I understood that every topic meant something to me. So I started doing so to the very best of my ability. And again, I was weak and addled and not in great shape at that point. So the best of my ability was a fraction of what it is now, but I did so. And as I did, again, every time it was like I would come to another revelation. Sorry, no, I couldn't say that. And some of them were huge and some were tiny, but every single one of them brought me closer to understanding what was going on. And it was that I was just a drug addict. I wasn't cursed. I wasn't this, that, or the other. I didn't have bad luck. I actually had incredibly good luck, and that was a huge realization. Like to look at this history that I have and everything I put myself through, and everybody thought I was that had the worst luck in the world, and I'm looking at it now going, no, it was me making incredibly stupid decisions and doing reckless things and coming through it okay, unscathed, alive, whole. Like, that's incredibly lucky. So all of a sudden, I started looking at everything differently, guys. This is how you do it. It doesn't have to be one big. It's almost never gonna be one big light bulb moment. It was this slow, consistent, glorious release of all the falsehoods that I've been feeding myself, all the excuses that I've been giving myself, all the bullshit that I've been spewing to make up for not shining the light on the truths in my life. And again, as I did so, good things started happening. So I started looking for more areas I could. Well, let me get to the bottom of this. One of the really funny things that happened, I don't know if funny is the right word, I don't know how else to say it, but as I started interacting more, I got a little more stability, got a little more confidence, and I just started doing the work. As we'd be sitting around chewing the fat and just, bullshitting with people, like you start talking history. Oh, yeah, I know this person, or I was here. All of a sudden, as I'm telling these war stories that I've been, telling to people my whole life, my history, it was changing. And for once, I was seeing the honesty in it, and that's what I was talking on. And half the time, like, I'd be halfway through the story, I'm like, wow, I never realized, wow. But again, as I learned to become honest with myself and then honest with the outside world, and it's not, yes, honest with the outside world is huge, but the growth and the lessons and the learning and the stability and the confidence and the answers came from being honest with myself. That was that was one of the big revelations, that I've been lying to myself all this time, so much so that I was believing myself. Boom, as soon as I tackled that one, I said, okay, well, that's an action step. There's an action plan for me. Try to live in as much rigorous honesty as I possibly can, because it's the only way I can figure anything out. And I had a lot I needed to figure out at that point. Not that I have all the answers now, not even close. I'm 13 months in. Life is beautiful. Life is so much better, but I have a long way to go. I got a long road ahead, and that's great, because that means I got a lot of growth ahead of me as well. That means that as good as things are right now, they're going to get so much better, because I still have more work to do. But as I've made rigorous honesty, conscious contact, working, and again, even that was all stuff I got in rehab, right? And I came home, and I was so full of hope and enthusiasm, and I was back in this apartment for all of 4 hours when I was trying to clean up the mess in here, and I found that rock of crack in a pipe, and I smoked it, and I relapsed. I'm like, oh my God, like, I'm not even out of rehab for 6 hours or 8 hours, and I've already slept. Like, everything I'm doing is this. But the difference is, for once in my life, I didn't say, oh, throw in the towel, I already slipped, let's call the dope man, let's throw it all away. I dropped to my knees and I prayed, because that was my new baseline. God, I'm so sorry, what did I do? What is my next right step? And then boom, immediately get out of the house. And I went out and I helped that girl that was locked out of her car took all, the bad feelings of myself by being of service, and I came home and I contemplated that. And I'm like, okay, well, what did we learn here? Well, being locked in this apartment by myself with nobody to talk to isn't going to do me any good because bad things happen, and I like to be of service. Well, where can I incorporate that? I get up the next morning and I said two things. I got to start the YouTube channel that was coming to me every day in rehab, and I've got to go find a meeting and get engaged with my peer communities. And guys, literally, I come to these two conclusions. I step out my front door. My neighbor next door, I know is an AA, comes walking by. And I'm like, Brian, I need a meeting. Boom, brought me to the meeting that I'm now chairman on Fridays of. And that was a Friday meeting, as a matter of fact. I got on Thursday. And boom, like there it goes. Again, God putting everything I need right in front of me because I was looking, because I was paying attention. And this whole year has just been this glorious release of all the things that were holding me back, all the traumas. Again, I went into the following Tuesday when I got out. I went into my IOP and I answered every question brutally, honestly. And I had the woman taking the interview in tears, giving me her personal cell phone number, like, you got severe PTSD and this and that. And I was okay. I'm like, it's okay, because God's telling me it's okay. Everything else has been okay. Just acknowledge what's being told, take it, internalize it, and then see what I need to do about it. And that's all I've done, guys. Day in and day out, things have gotten bigger. And in the beginning months, those first 2 months, January and February of last year, seemed like the longest 2 months. But at the same time, when I look at the progress and the things that happened to me, getting help with the back rent through Raft, getting a scholarship to Harvard, getting my pickup truck, starting my business, like, that was miraculous. Yeah, they seemed long because it was a whirlwind of just changing and having to shed the old. Like, my new life has cost me my old, but again, getting rid of that old life was a glorious release. I mean, I'm so incredibly grateful today, guys. And then I fast forward today and I look at the way I interact with the world. Like, I look at the fact that I've come so far, and I just the way the fact that yesterday morning when I woke up with anxiety to do that job because I knew the consequences could be dire if I made a mistake. But again, I also knew I could do the job without making a mistake, and I planned for every contingency, and even taking all those extra steps doing that because I talked to God in prayer and asked Him to walk with me through that job, to let me know that He is here still in my life every day. I walk in a job that was supposed to take 8 hours, and usually we'd have 2 or 3 guys, but I know I'm healthy and I'm good today, so I knew I could do it myself. It took 2.5 hours. That's a miraculous result. Supernatural results. Again, because I brought it up in prayer, and God's letting me know I'm doing good work, I'm on the right track, and He's right here with me every moment of every day. Because I continue to make good decisions. I continue to start my day rooted in prayer. End my day with prayers, thanking God. And I'm not asking for things every day. I asked Him to walk with me through that job. I didn't ask Him to do the job for me. I didn't ask Him to, take care of it. No, I asked Him to just look out for me. Because that's what He does. He looks out for us when we ask. But we also have that self-will, that free will. You've got to physically do these things. And that's the difference today, guys. All the things I used to just assume were givens. No, there's no assumptions. There's no givens. You take the action, you get the result. It's as simple as that. I take good actions today. I get great results. I love it. And even then, again, I didn't wake up today saying, oh, God was there with me. How'd I hurt myself? No, I got very enthusiastic about that job today. It's the first really physical job I've done in this new body that I've been going to the gym every day for a year. And the digging that used to, take 2 men 4 hours, I did it by myself in a half hour. And because I did, I woke up sore today. So because I did, I took it easy today. Like, see? Things can make sense if you make sense of them. Guys, that's the video for today. Thank you so much for being here with me. Always remember, God loves you. I love you. We'll see you in the next one.